Act 2, Part 1, starting at 30 minutes, we get a student suicide here. The suicide due to the pressure to succeed, which is one of the key issues in this film. The first bridge, which is the halfway point in Act 2, Part 1. So if Act 2 is 50% of your film, the middle 50%, then Act 2, Part 1 is usually 30 minutes up to about 60 minutes. Though, a note to say that this film is actually 2 hours 50 minutes long. But it suffers a little from that. Even though it's all great stuff, it does suffer because of that length. So the bridge one, 45 minutes. It's Rancho, the inspiring hero of the film really, accidentally insults Farhan's father by saying that Farhan should follow his heart to become a photographer, which is his passion, rather than doing what his father wants. Again, that's one of the big themes of this. A very sort of big Indian theme, one might say. And then we meet the Raju's family. The Raju is the other of the three friends. And at 48 minutes, it's notable that we meet Pia, the love interest in the film, but the love interest of Rancho. Though, even though Rancho is perhaps the star of the film, the hero of the film, I don't think it's Rancho's story. The halfway point, the point of no return, we get, at this point, Rancho tricking Chateau by showing him up for his method of learning is to just memorize whatever he has. So all Rancho's done is substituted a few words in his document that he's going to present, and Chateau has blindly memorized this, and so recites it, and he thinks, very precisely, and therefore he should get top grades. But with these changed words, he's exposed as someone who, yes, he learns what's on the page, but does he really understand what he's talking about? So it's another lesson that Rancho gives, for Rancho is a kind of teacher. Okay, Act 2, Part 2, 60 minutes. It begins with another lesson, this time a lesson for the love interest, for Pia, to do with her expensive watch and her shallow but rich boyfriend. Because the film's also about how, this status climbing, this you've got to be rich, is not the be-all and end-all. And, self-fulfillment has to come into it. So Act 2, Part 2, the bridge, the halfway point in Act 2, Part 2. Bridge 2, 75 minutes, we get the Zooby-Doo love song, which is a great set-piece love song. I mean, typical of Indian films, it's full of these magical dance routines and love songs and things like that. And this one's particularly good fun. I mean, sometimes these songs in films, especially like Indian films, can just be a bit annoying, but there's a sort of charm about this one which I quite enjoyed. Plot point 2, the moment of truth. And again, these structures that I'm working on, these templates, are used very much in American commercial cinema and pretty much in all European cinema, though they're not adhered to as strongly in European cinema. The film thus far, up to 90 minutes, is following pretty much the structures you'll find in all, Western cinema. So the moment of truth is that the boys discover that Rancho is not the rich guy that the evil teacher said he was. He's actually an orphan who was a servant and a savant. This really smart orphan guy, the lowest caste in India, who happened to be this great genius. And so the rich guy who owns the palace in which he works, the big stately home in which he works, pays him to sit exams for his son, who isn't as bright. So the moment of truth, they discover that Rancho's not rich. In fact, he was an orphan being paid to pass exams for the rich son.